What's good, y'all? Welcome to another video. This time it's the SH Figuarts Avengers Endgame Final Battle Iron Man Mark 85. That is a long as hell title. But yeah, let's jump into this video. Let's get started. If you missed out on the original Mark 85, this is your chance to get a dirtied up Final Battle version with a bunch of new accessories to go onto your Mark 85. Also, if you have the previous Mark 85, just like with Captain America, this one actually makes a great addition to combining swapping parts. Now, for people like me, a lot of the time who miss out on the Takara Tony stuff, which it sucks for me, but I know tons of other people do have it. There are a bunch of other reviewers who have reviewed the Takara Tony sets. I will say this right away. If you've previously bought a Takara Tony set, this will not be for you because you basically already have a bunch of the accessories you already want and add on to a figure you want. But if you are here to see what the difference is between the regular and the Final Battle version, this is going to be for you. So let's get started. First things first, let's go over the look and how it looks and then size him up with, you know, his previous version. I'm going to have to definitely swap the head neck out so you guys can see the difference. One of the things I want to talk about is that the head sculpt, while it looks nice, it also looks really big in terms of the nose. I don't know what happened with that, but they definitely went for a bigger nose here on this Tony Stark. Another thing is, I know that Tony's technically supposed to be aged here. I think he's supposed to have a little bit more grays than what we're seeing, but that probably was one of those things where it was a contractual obligation to give him a younger look, right? So we have our dirtied up Mark 85. All the gold parts are now a dirty bronze. There seems to be a wash over the color, as you can see it here. Overall, I really like this version too, as well. I think it does look really nice. I think one misstep may have been that the neck area is still a brighter red than the rest of it, but who knows, maybe he kept his collar clean. Now, real quick though, when you compare it to the previous 85, you'll see that there are a lot going on here in terms of the look. Like I said, bright and brand new. There is a darker blue here as well. And what I'm going to do is, so we can get a full proper comparison, I'm going to swap this neck out. I'm going to put the swappable part of the armored head. And you'll see here that the blues on the eyes are different. The chest is different. You definitely get a nice look at how it is different here. I really do like both of them. Let me just spread the legs a little bit so I can see that they're proper height together. I really like both. They definitely add a different feel and look to it. And it's definitely one of those things where compatibility wise, they're gonna be really nice together. Now that I've done the quick side by side, let's talk about the Final Battle version. Articulation wise, you should have the same as the Mark 85. So yeah, in terms of our heads, we can look up, no problem. This is gonna be for flight poses, obviously. You'll get your standard butterfly joint that can rotate out and around. My joints are really tight. Then we have our arm and it can extend it out. There's your bicep swivel. We have our double jointed arm with no problem, as you can see, allowing for great mobility. You have your standard SHF pegs, which I don't even need to talk about now at this point. Our neck can move down as well on the armored head. Now, I'm gonna swap this back in because even on the, the normal head, you can see the head can tuck in as well. It can look up as well. I don't know what just happened. Sorry, I had a small malfunction on my phone. So as you can see here, the head can look up as well. It can tilt side to side, just like the armored head. So you shouldn't have too much of a problem. Then as far as our torso goes, we actually get a really great torso here. I just feel like slightly with the way its curvature is, it's gonna be a little bit to align it properly. But once you get it aligned properly, it'll look pretty clean. Now for our upper torso, you can actually extend it up by pulling it up, as you saw here, which allows you to get a greater back mobility, a very good forward mobility, and your ab crunch, except obviously you'll have a big gap here. I know some people hate that stuff. It really doesn't bother me. It just allows me to do a lot more in terms of hiding stands. So this actually helps me immensely. But yeah, this kind of stuff doesn't bother me. When you rotating back, you should rotate back gently, then push back down, and then you'll have a lower crunch as well. There will be a small gap as well. But again, this will allow you to tilt sideways as well too, giving you a great range of mobility, all while allowing less paint rub issues. Now for our legs, you can actually tuck down with no problem. You use the drop down method. We have our thigh swivel, which is a standard here for most Iron Men. You can actually go forward, There's die cast along here. I believe it's in the foot and lower part of the, no, just the foot. We're double jointed as well. These joints are actually really, really tight. As far as our foot pivot and ankle movement, as you can see here, forwards and backwards, you can tilt in and you can tilt outward. And there is toe pivot as well. Please be careful for those die cast parts, guys. I am not a fan of die cast in the feet. It definitely does ruin the articulation long term. And that stuff kind of just wears itself out after a while. But I appreciate the nice touch. I just would like it a lot less in the long term. But that's just me. Overall, this Tony is actually pretty nice. Straight up out the box. We didn't even get to the part with the accessories. And I can tell you, if you like Iron Man, it's nice to have a dirtied version. It's nice to have one with another Tony Stark head sculpt, right? So let's leave him like that. And let's go over some of the accessories. One of them is being that you get this shield, which I think is very nice. The shield effect is pretty dope. It is mainly meant for primarily the right hand. As you can see, the right hand is built in to the piece that plugs in. So when using it and recreating the scene with Hawkeye, right before the final battle, you'll see here, plugs right in, able to hold up with no problem. He actually can hold the weight of it actually very, very well. And I think that's pretty dope. This is going to be something I definitely would want to use in some other cool photos like Block and Blast or effects. This is very nice. I won't create it for the same scene, probably do something different. Now, plug this back in. Next up, we're going to talk about the standard effects, and then we'll do something a little different. Now, you still have your standard repulsor effects and thrusters effects. These ones are your repulsors for your hands. These are the short ones, and these ones are going to be for when you're using flight and holding yourself afloat like you've seen in the movies. Then you have your foot thruster effects. These ones are made pretty much the same, if I remember correctly. Oh, actually, they've made these ones slightly different. They've now pegged slightly different, but otherwise it's all the same shape. So next up, we're gonna have our hands that match that. So here are your open flight hands. These are dirtied up a little as well too. You'll have your repulsor hands, which I've shown you the repulsor effects for. These are standard staple hands. You have your open action hands. Whether or not you're gonna be holding stuff is really up to you. Then you have your actual standing repulsor hands. These ones are shaped a slightly different to hold out the fact that he's like holding out hands like this. So keep that in mind. Then you actually have the really good guard blade effect. This is a really cool effect that Takara Tony actually offered first before we actually had the whole nano blade thing and the upgrade sets. I mean, sorry, not the upgrade sets, the Mark 50 Nano Set 1 and Nano Set 2. This is one that was offered just for this, but before this, it was offered third party through Takara Tony. And I thought that was really cool that he made it. Again, I don't have one to compare to. I think I have the Mark 50 set, but not the 85 set. So they are compatible with each other, and maybe I'll show you in the videos. But you'll only get a right-handed blade one for the Mark 85. You won't get a left and a right, which Takara Tony made one for each hand, which is pretty dope. Next up, you've seen it already. This is the swappable head and neck for the 85. And last but not least, we're going to go over the the backpack set. This actually comes attached to him. And with it, you'll have this small piece that wedges into the back. When that is not in use, this plugs in directly into the back. And it hangs on perfectly fine. It actually rotates very well. So that way you can do what you want to do. It has pegs on the first two and the third one. So you actually can line these up as you see fit. Or you can rotate them down or make them go down. See, as you can see here. I'm sorry, you can't. I have it off camera. So as you can see, you can rotate them down. You can rotate them back up. However you want to do it is really up to you. The back side of it looks very nice as well too. Again, though, if you've bought the Takara Tony set, he pretty much did this already. So if you've missed out like me, that's why you bought the 85 Final Battle. That's pretty much why you bought it. A lot of people are going to miss out because they got the Takara Tony one. Now, whether or not this fits on the previous one, we'll check out right now. So let's test that out. It should, because they're basically the same mold in different colors. But just in case, you know, let's check it out. Oh yeah, I took my back piece out. Perfect. So to see if this fits, yes. Yes, it does. So if you have the previous Mark 85 you are in luck because now you have this to go on your backhand side. Now you're all shined up. Now, last but not least though, you do get effects for this. And because I have no nails, I'm gonna just show you a quick example. You're going to tab out these parts till they come out like that. And you will get a set of effects. You'll actually get a lot of them for each one. So I'm gonna show you a few of them. You can see here. These are gonna be for blast effects that you wanna use. Because I only took out one, I'm only gonna show you one until obviously I take photos. These are going to tab in, and you're gonna tab until you hear a certain sound, and you'll hear it. There we go. And as you can see here, still movable with the effects. So again, how you decide to position them is really up to you. But I think this was a great addition, something that is truly different, and I really, really like it. Just be careful when tabbing out and tabbing in. You don't want to lose these small. You don't want to lose those small parts when tabbing. You'll notice that I'm having technical difficulties right now. In all honesty, it's because a lot of people are reaching out and it's sending my phone into literally a frenzy. So I'm trying to catch up with everybody, as well as trying to receive phone calls. And even with my phone on airplane mode, everyone's trying to find a way to contact me. So I do appreciate you reaching out. I figured tell you the truth instead of just trying to lie and edit it, because I'm not very good at editing anyway, or lying. So here we are. So yeah, just be careful when tabbing them in and out. Obviously, the more you use it, the more easier it will be to tab it out, but that means there's also a risk of running them loose. So please keep that in mind. Now that we've covered just about everything, I want to cover one more thing before we get into the size comparison, and that is the head sculpt. While I like it, I know a ton of people don't. I think the biggest issue that people are going to have is that one of the eyes look a little wonky, and I'm not sure if I can capture that on camera pretty well. But at angles, the Tony head looks great. But when looking dead on, the Tony head right here on the right eye looks a little wonky. But for the most part, it can still film pretty great. But when you compare it to these other two sculpts I have, one being Noda and one being the man nipple head sculpt, I think some people are going to be definitely swapping theirs around. As you see, there is a skin tone change. So please keep in mind and choose the one you'd like. If not, you know, it's totally fine to go with the stock one. I personally don't mind it, but I had options before because I didn't think that I would be getting a Tony Stark unmasked head right away. So yeah, let's get you to stand straight up. Let's actually, you know what? Let's leave this head on, because you know what? A lot of people like to see what it looks like. And let's jump into these size comparisons. Let's do some Trinity stuff. So let's get Cap and Thor here. I'm gonna do SHF and the Mafex Thor. So here's Cap, here's Iron Man, here is Mafex Thor, right? And then next up, we're gonna do the SHF Thor, so you guys can see them all together. So the Trinity plus one, I guess. So yeah, you have your nice little size comparison there for these guys. Then we're gonna take these guys away. Let's do a few other comparisons. Here is Thanos and Hulk. Here's SHF Captain Marvel. She's a tiny girl, but I like the way she looks. I really like her suit design. Then we're gonna move these guys towards the back. All right, let's move her out the way. Next up, you have your main man, Spider-Man. I usually use the Mafex one until the final battle SHF one comes out, and then we'll decide how we choose to display that guy there. I like the size difference between these two. We're gonna use the best friend, Rhodey. So here's War Machine. I really like that War Machine suit, is much bigger, really do. Next up, we're gonna use Mafex Black Panther. Then we're gonna compare it to a 6-inch Marvel Legends. And I think the Tony kind of fits in well enough that you can put him with your other stuff, well, whether it's domestic or not, or other import stuff. It definitely kind of blends in really well. Next up, we're gonna do a Lightning Collection Red Ranger. Then we're gonna do a Marvel Legends tree, which is your main man Groot. Then we have an SHF Kamen Rider 01. And a 1000 Toys Synthetic Human. Right? So we have a bunch of stuff here. One of the cool things I never really thought about until now is I often think about what happened in those 5 years. Was crime still happening? Were the Avengers still avenging? There's lots of cool things that you can do in between that kind of covers all of that. Just an idea. Here's an articulated icons ninja. Then there's my cat trying to creep in quietly, but he's squeaking through the door, so excuse that. Then we have a Mythic Legions, right? Let's pair up a Mythic Legion. Then we have a Mezco Me. The special straps on both are by Kylab. Kylab, I appreciate you giving me these to test out. There will be a video for that as well. So as always, guys, I think that this is a great addition if you want to continue adding on to your line. If you've had the previous Mark 85 with a third-party Takara Tony set, you're pretty much set. But this is still a nice addition to have if you never got one. So keep that in mind. As always, guys, I hope you've enjoyed. Hope you found it informative. And as always, please be good, do good, drink your water.